Over the course of a Formula 1 season, you'll race at over 20 different racetracks, some of which you may not have competed at before. Today, you'll learn how to get up to speed on all of them. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well today. My name is PJ and today I'll be showing you how to master a track in F1 2020. We'll be looking at the in-game tools that help you out, what to look out for on track, and the things you can do to build up speed, confidence and racecraft ahead of your next Grand Prix. If you learned something today and want to get better at racing games, you can subscribe to check out my other guides, but for now, let's get started. Before we dive deep into learning a track, let's first look at the tools F1 2020 provides out of the box, as they're all quite useful. The first is the track acclimatization program, which you can use during free practice sessions in My Team, career and weekly events. This program places a number of gates on the circuit, telling you where to place your car, brake, turn and accelerate. It's an excellent tool for beginners and should be the first program you run during a Grand Prix weekend. As mentioned before, you can find them in-game, but if you want to check out a few right now, the official channel for the F1 games is releasing videos for every circuit on the calendar. I make these videos as part of my work at Codemasters and provide many tips in each, so go check them out later. In addition to the track acclimatization program, we also have the Racing Align Assist, which you can use at any time. This draws a line on the road for you to follow and gives guidance on where to brake. It's fairly conservative in its suggestions, but if you've never driven a track before, you may want to leave it on. If you want to learn how to drive without it, however, I have a guide for you. Subscribe and take a look after you're done with this video. The third in-game tool is a little hidden away but may in fact be the most useful. In Time Trial, select one of the faster times on the leaderboard as your ghost. Then, in the pause menu, head to Ghost Settings and turn on Rival Telemetry mode. This draws a new racing line on the road, showing you their real inputs and approach to corners. Don't worry about trying to beat their time as you drive, but do take a look at the lines they take in and out of corners, as the faster players generally know what they're doing. While the in-game tools are certainly useful and help give you a decent understanding of a track, to truly learn a circuit you need to put in the research. That starts with the track walk. In real-life racing, drivers will often walk an entire lap of a circuit before the race. While they do this, they're taking notes of anything they can either take advantage of or should watch out for when they get in a car. We can do this in-game too. Head into Time Trial and start driving a lap at very slow speed. As you drive around, keep an eye out for things like where the runoff areas are, which corners have grass on the outside, and what the curbs feel like. You may want to drive over the curbs to get a sense for what they'll do to the car. Flat ones are usually pretty safe, but any that raise the car off the ground may cause you to spin or unsettle the car when you take them at high speed. As you get close to a corner, stop at the 150 meter board, and approach the corner extremely slowly. Here, you need to look out for various objects that you can use as braking reference. The marker boards are an obvious example, but also see if there are any lines on the road, or curbs, or sponsor board edges, or anything else you can use as reference. When you travel through here at high speed, you won't have time to think, so having a reliable marker is very useful, as you can hit the brakes as soon as you reach it and be close to a good line every time. You should also mark out other notable things, like where the DRS activation and detection lines are, what the pit entry looks like, and where the pit lane speed limit line is. As you go through this whole track walk process, don't be afraid to break out the notebook and write a few things down. There's a lot to take in, but it can be handy to look at these between sessions, jogging your memory. Now that we have a basic understanding of the course layout and a few reference points to watch out for, it's time to build up speed to reach our ultimate race pace. To start, head out on track and drive at about half speed. In other words, try to stay in 4th gear or below for most corners. As you're not pushing your limits so hard, you won't be using up all of your mental capacity. This frees up your brain to still absorb information and analyze the circuit as you get familiar with it. Throughout these laps, your main goal is to find a smooth line through each corner. Look out for your reference markers in each braking zone and try to consistently hit them. Then, on the exit, start exploring different lines to see how they impact the next corner. You may want to compromise your exit from one corner to get a better speed out of another, which is very important when the second corner leads onto a straight. Once you feel comfortable with each corner, pick up the pace a little by going faster on the straights and try to hit your braking markers again. Take note of how late you can brake while maintaining your line, and try to get as fast an exit as possible out of the slower corners. When you spin or run wide, make note of that too, as you'll soon know what your limits are. By now, you should have a very solid understanding of the circuit layout, and have enough confidence in some corners to take them at racing speed. So let's start pushing our limits further. Take each corner now as fast as you can, and see how far you can push the car before you lose control. Spot your marks early and aim to hit them every time. Try taking some corners flat out as well. You may find that it's not possible, but with a gentle lift of the throttle you can keep the car within the limits, and by not braking you'll go faster. As you continue to do this, the mental pressure of driving at speed will decrease, and you'll feel more at ease with your driving. This increases the amount of brain space you can devote to other things, like racecraft, car management, and strategies. Even though you may now be able to drive a decent lap, you're not done learning, however, and for this you'll need to look outside of the game. By examining high-level performance, you may find a few things that you'd want to try out in your next run, and the best place for this is the Formula 1 YouTube channel. Take a look at the onboards of pole position laps for the track you're learning, and compare the driver's lines to what you're doing. You may find that they brake earlier or later in some corners, or take a wider exit, all of which they're doing to maximise performance. You can also check out videos from top F1 esports players who do the same thing in-game. With a solid understanding of the track and your capabilities, you should already be in a good state of mind for your next race, but there's more for us to learn. In a hot lapping situation, you have the entire track to yourself and you can take the optimal racing lines. However, in a race you're sharing the road with other cars, and these optimal lines aren't always available. If you know what to do when they're taken away from you, however, you'll be much better prepared than the driver who simply hot laps and thinks that's enough. Head back into time trial once again, but this time try taking corners using only the inside line or only the outside line. Take note of how late or how early you have to brake, how much you have to steer through the turns, and how early you can get back on the throttle. With this knowledge in hand, you'll know what the best and worst lines for each corner are, so that when you're in a heated battle with your opponents, you can either take the best lines or pressure your opponents into taking the worst ones. One thing to point out, however, is that not every corner is an overtaking zone. Some are single file, while some do technically allow you to make a pass. The downsides of a slower lap time are too great for them to be viable. Again, look to the professionals for insight into the best places to overtake. Watch highlights from the sport itself or from F1 esports, and you should be able to pick up on where the hotspots are on each track, which you can try it for yourself in your next race. Now that you know how to master a track in F1 2020, it's time to optimize your performance. Check out the guide on screen now to learn how to make tuning setups, or get more tips from my channel on the left. In the meantime, thanks for watching, liking and subscribing, and I wish you the best of luck in your next race.